Welcome to IntoWineTV. Today we're at Incanto in San Francisco and we're tasting sparkling wines. This is the Michele Chiarlo Moscato di Asti Nivole. It's a 2008, retails for $15. What do you think?
I don't know exactly how long they've been bottling this particular bottling. I can remember tasting this wine as far back as maybe even 20 years ago for the first time. It's consistent in style. I don't know if it's a style that's going to appeal to everybody. Appeal to a lot probably, but for me it's a little bit, I guess what I'd call cloying. It's a little bit, I mean it's a sweet wine of course, but it really doesn't have the acidity to cleanse the palate and get you ready for that next drink. For my palate anyway. But once again, what I will say, it's very consistent. It tastes almost identical to the first time I tasted it, meaning it's got that real ripe, maybe overripe peach note to it. I mean, it has a sweetness. There's plenty of residual sugar left in the package. But once again, for me, it just doesn't have the acidity to balance everything out.
Yeah, as much as I like to disagree with Eddie, I mean, everything he said was on the spot, I think. I mean, the acidity. I think the first thing that kind of struck me when I tasted that wine was definitely the residual sugar versus acidity. Because if you have residual sugar in wine, and for example, German Rieslings are a great example of that, where you do have to have a strong acidic structure in wine. This wine is definitely lacking and making it a little flabby. Although in general, I am quite impartial to Moscato di Asti. I always think that this is probably one of the sexiest wines around. I really always enjoy it, but this wine in quality, comparing with some other Moscato di Astis I've had before, I think it's slightly lacking.
Well, I'm actually going to disagree with both of you. I know what you're talking about with the acidity, but I think it's actually just being masked by the sweetness. I personally love this wine. I think it's absolutely delicious. I would buy it in a heartbeat. And one of the good things about this, well, Michele Chiarlo is one of the top producers in Italy, not just of Moscato d'Asti, but of all his wines are top notch. But what I like about this wine is, there's a little bit of spritz, but it's not, you can't even see the bubbles, so it's not even as spritzy as, say, Vino Verde. But this wine is one of the few, and Moscato d'Astis in general are one of the few wines that can actually go with dessert. Unless you're having something like a Madeira, which is the other wine that goes universally well with almost every dessert. This wine is actually the wine which goes best with the most broad array of desserts. And in fact, my parents, Michael Broadbent, have this wine at home in their fridge. They drink this and other Moscato d'Astis all the time. And whenever they have dessert, the chances are they're going to be pouring a Moscato d'Asti. And I think the quality of this is extremely high. It may be a little bit sweet, which personally I love and I think would be universally appealing, but you're coming from a slightly more serious wine angle where you're just looking for a bit more acidity and less cloyingness.
Yeah. I think, let's say over the last 10 to 12 years, I think that producers of this wine, Moscato from Asti, have really started to push the envelope, and they are making more serious wines. I think they're definitely making more balanced wines. If you were to do a tasting of different Moscato di Asti producers of good quality, you're going to start getting notes of earth and a little bit higher acidity. And to me, some of these other components that they're infusing into the wines really add a depth and a complexity, and they just naturally make the wine a little more serious.
Yeah.
Where Michele Chiarlo has pretty much decided, obviously, or settled on the fact that it's going to be this style of wine. And like I say, I commend them for keeping I guess what we can call a house style, for being consistent, because there's definitely something to say about consistency. When the consumer goes at retail to purchase a bottle of something, they want to know what's in the bottle. They're comfortable, and they want to know what they're getting a lot of the time.
This wine, the nose is absolutely delicious. It's like really concentrated raisins.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since you mentioned food again, Bartholomew, I think for me one of the most delectable and sensual pairings is panna cotta with Moscato di Asti. I'm not a big dessert fan in general, but having a great, very kind of delicate panna cotta with the Moscato di Asti, for me, has been always one of the most delicious pairings as far as
also
food and
talk
wine
about
go.
the alcohol content, because I noticed it's
Right.
quite low at 5%. Is that
Yes.
typical of Moscato di Asti?
Absolutely. You're usually talking between 5 and 6%. And now that right there is a great marketing tool because you can drink a lot of it.
Low alcohol wines are really, really popular right now.
You heard it from Edward. You can drink a lot of it. This is the Michele Chiarlo Moscato di Asti. I'll certainly be drinking a lot of it. It's fantastic. Thanks for joining us on IntoWineTV, and we'll see you next time.